In 1992, a hurricane destroyed Hawaii's most famous resort, and 32 years later, Elvis Presley's wedding chapel is still standing in the ruins, untouched, like someone's waiting for him to come back. I'm Barnaby, and I'm standing in what's left of the Coco Palms Resort to find out why a $150 million paradise has been rotting for 3 decades. The Coco Palms Resort sat on 46 acres of Kauai's sacred land, where Hawaiian royalty once lived, and Elvis married Joan Blackman in Blue Hawaii. Here's what doesn't make sense. Developers have been promising to rebuild this place since 1993, but every single project fails before breaking ground. The resort's bones are still here, palm trees grown through the lobby, and the lagoon where Elvis sang is filled with stagnant water and forgotten dreams. So why would investors walk away from oceanfront property worth hundreds of millions, and why does this land refuse to let anyone rebuild? Grace Busher Guslander built Coco Palms in 1953 on land that locals warned her was kapu, sacred and forbidden to commercial development. By the 60s, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, and Rita Hayworth were checking in, and the torch lighting ceremony every sunset became the most photographed moment in Hawaii. Then, on September 11, 1992, Hurricane Iniki hit with 145-mile-per-hour winds, and the resort that survived 40 years vanished in 4 hours. Officials called it natural disaster recovery, but kupuna, Hawaiian elders, said the land finally rejected what was built on top of sacred ground. The insurance payout came through in months. Rebuilding permits were approved by 1994, yet construction equipment sat unused and rusted in the parking lot. And the original land lease documents from 1953, they disappeared from county records, like someone didn't want anyone knowing what promises were made to build here. Walking through the main entrance, the air smells like salt and decay, and you can still see where the registration desk curved in that signature tropical arc. There's wind moving through the structure that sounds like voices, chanting, maybe singing, even though there's no one here but me and the ghosts. At what's left of the front desk, I find the guest registry buried under vines, still open to September 10, 1992, and the last entry says, "Checked out early, storm coming." The final confirmed guest was a honeymooning couple from California, room 108, and someone wrote in the margin they never left the island. Next to the ruined registry sits a room key, number 56, Elvis's room from the movie, with a tag that reads, "Do not disturb," in faded ink. Room 56 still has the 4-poster bed frame against the wall, mattress long gone, but you can see where they positioned it for the wedding scene. Inside the closet, a maintenance log from 1991 documenting strange electrical failures in this exact room, lights flickering during the full moon, always at midnight. There's a photo pinned to the wall, staff members from 1961 standing with Elvis during filming, and someone circled one face with the word "returned" written below. In the presidential suite, someone barricaded the lanai doors with furniture before the hurricane hit, like they were trying to keep something out instead of protecting from wind. But evacuation records say the presidential suite was empty that night, yet there's a suitcase still packed by the door, name tag reading Guslander family. The resort's manager's office has development proposals stacked 5 feet high, 23 different investors, 23 different failed projects spanning 3 decades. Construction reports from 1995 show workers refusing to continue after equipment malfunctioned, tools went missing, and 3 separate injuries happened in the same spot, the old Royal Fish Pond. There's a memo from the site foreman dated June 1996 that says crew will not return. They hear drumming at night and found tea leaf offerings that weren't there at sunrise. The final development attempt was 2018, permits approved, financing secured, and ground was supposed to break in January, but the lead investor died suddenly in December. And every proposal, every failed attempt, every investor who walked away mentions the same thing in their notes: community opposition and unforeseen cultural complications. Behind the old lagoon, there's a concrete structure sealed with chains and a sign in Hawaiian and English that reads, "Sacred Site, Kapu, no entry beyond this point." They said it was sealed after the hurricane for safety reasons, but the chains are hand-forged in traditional Hawaiian style, and the concrete looks poured decades before 1992. Inside, I find a chamber that's not on any resort blueprints, stone walls, ancient petroglyphs, and a spring that still runs clear despite everything around it being destroyed. There are documents here, wrapped in plastic, hidden by someone who knew what this place really was. Land surveys from 1952 showing this was an ancient heiau, a Hawaiian temple. A letter from a cultural advisor to Grace Guslander dated 1953 says building here violates sacred covenant. The Ali spirits will reclaim this land, but construction proceeded anyway. Something moves in the water behind me, ripples spreading from the center of the spring, though there's no wind, no rain, just stillness and the weight of broken promises. Suddenly, it makes sense. This land was never truly sold, never truly given, and every attempt to rebuild fails because the land itself is rejecting what doesn't belong. The county approved every development knowing the cultural violations. Investors poured in millions, ignoring the warnings, and the community watched 32 years of cosmic justice play out in slow motion. In 1953, the land was leased under conditions that required respect for sacred sites, but the resort was built directly over a royal fish pond and an ancient place of worship. If anyone acknowledged the cultural violations, the lease would be void, insurance wouldn't cover hurricane damage, and the state would face lawsuits from native Hawaiian groups, so everyone stayed silent. The forgotten victims weren't just the 400 employees who lost their jobs. They were the generations of Hawaiians who watched sacred land be exploited and then abandoned. The evidence proves the resort was built on protected cultural sites. Developers knew about the violations, and every rebuild attempt failed when cultural practitioners intervened through legal and spiritual means. What still can't be explained is why cameras malfunction in the temple chamber, why construction equipment breaks down in the same spots, and why every full moon the torch lighting ceremony still happens with no one to light the torches. Locals say you can still hear the conch shell blowing and see figures in traditional dress walking the paths where the lagoon used to be. As I leave the Coco Palms Resort, I notice fresh lei hanging on the gates. Someone still honors what this place was before it became Elvis's paradise, before it became a ruin. There are dozens of abandoned resorts across Hawaii, all built on contested land, all haunted by promises broken to the people who were here first. This is Barnaby, until the next mystery. Some places aren't meant to be rebuilt, and some debts take generations to be paid in full.